Welcome, everybody, to episode 16 of the COD Casuals. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Justin.
And here we are once again, episode 16. We made it. We say it every episode. Happy to say it. How's everything been with you, man?
It's been good.
Good.
Good. Played a lot of COD past few days. First week of Stage 4 is back, so we've been watching that.
It was the perfect weekend to watch it, too, because it was miserable weather outside.
Memorial Day weekend was not. It wasn't sunny at all.
No,
it was just cold and rainy.
Yeah, it was cold and windy and rainy, so it was a perfect day to just kind of chill out on the couch, watch some Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And yeah, overall the games, there weren't any real mind-blowing results that happened.
Yeah. I feel like we're at that point in the year where it's like, all right, like, you know, we know the teams that are like really good. There aren't that many upsets anymore.
Yeah,
I
agree.
And we already know like the top teams at this point. And the first week of matches aren't. I mean, I have some notes written down here. There weren't some like crazy games that I personally was looking forward to.
Like, me either.
FaZe versus OpTic, that was probably the most exciting one, like for me personally.
But then the actual game itself was not exciting.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
OpTic got swept 3-0.
Yeah.
It was a close 3-0 though.
Yeah,
but I mean, all the other games like, we're gonna be focusing more on like the bottom 8 through 12 teams. But for the most part, like the games this week, the top like 1st through 6 or whatever.
Yeah. The top 6 teams.
Yeah, those teams did well.
Yeah, I mean, they did pretty well. I think before we can even hop into that, one little change that I believe it came out shortly after we filmed the last episode 15, was regarding the Los Angeles Thieves.
Yeah, that was like on.
I can't remember if it was that day or what it was. Maybe we just missed it. I don't really know.
I mean, it was after we recorded.
Yeah.
So.
But the big news was that the Los Angeles Thieves, they benched their all-star $500,000 player, Huke, formerly on the Dallas Empire, reigning champ. They put him on the bench, and they brought back in TJ Haley.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. I think this was a big, big shock to everybody.
Yeah.
The Twitter coaches came out in full force on this one.
It was funny because, like, it was all over Twitter for that day.
Yep.
And then I feel like the next day it was just everyone kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, and Huke, too, seemed to be pretty cool about it. He tweeted out something that he was happy or he was content with, like, the decision. He understood it. He just needed time.
He said he was going to make a YouTube video. I haven't seen the YouTube video or if he, like, even posted it yet.
Yeah.
But he said that, like, he was happy and, you know, he doesn't feel bad or anything about being benched, which I'm assuming this is probably going to be the one team where he's okay being benched.
Right.
And he wants his team to play better, so.
Yeah, so they came off, like, the prior weeks when they had Huke. I don't know if they won any games with him.
No, they didn't win any.
Yeah, they didn't win any. Mm-hmm. And they're at that point, too, where they're trying to, though we've mentioned, like, in the top 6, top 7, it's relatively secured. These teams are still fighting for good placings when they go into the into COD Champs.
Yeah.
And obviously they want to win too, you know, just for prize money and everything. So it was a big decision. They just spent all this money on him and they put him on the bench.
Yeah.
TJ comes in and they win their game.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't. I can't remember who they played. A Seattle Surge.
Yeah, the Surge.
Yeah, and it was a close game. It was
Game 5.
Yeah, Game 5 looked good. I mean, Surge looked fantastic, but we'll get to them because they're in that bottom group there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really one of the only shakeups, I guess. Them and Toronto Ultra lost. They lost early in the weekend. I think it was the second game to Florida. They lost 3-2.
Yeah. Before we get into those, though, I want to talk about more about that Huke bench.
Oh yeah, sure.
Coach K, Coach.
Yeah,
Cap.
yeah, Coach Cap.
He's made a lot of big moves this year. I think people need to respect him more for doing what the team needs to actually win. Because everybody, the fans, they call this league a friendship league, and then J-Cap, veteran, knows all these players. And he's friends with all these players, and he's the one benching them.
Yeah,
you can't. It's not a friendship league if he's doing that. He understands this team is built to win. The whole org is built to win, and they're not gonna take top 3. Like, that's good, but they want first.
Yeah, and that's what you got to respect about Los Angeles Thieves and JCap too. JCap, for people who don't know, he's a former COD pro. He played last year. I don't think he played the whole year.
No.
But he's a world champ. I mean, he's arguably one of the greatest COD players of all time. He's got to be in everyone's top 10 list for greatest ever.
Yeah.
So he's no idiot. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it's also not just his decision too. You know, there's quite a few people that are in play when they're making such a big decision, like benching a player.
Him and Mud Dog, the general manager of LA Thieves, both of them are like making the main decisions. And Nade's obviously the person that finalizes it, but based on how Nade speaks about them, he's like, I trust them. They do whatever, what they need to do.
Yeah.
And, I mean, obviously it worked. Like, TJ came back. They won their first game. It was a tough first game for them, but shaking off the rust.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a big part of it. And that's what you got to respect, like I said before about them, is that they're making these moves. And, like we'll get to later, there's a lot of teams at the bottom. Some of those teams have barely made any moves, or it's too late.
Yeah.
So it's good. I mean, it's tough to see Huke on the bench and for them to have to make that move, but that's what they got to do. And they did it, and, well, they got to win out of it.
And off the LA Thieves, like, pre-show, it seems like they have, like, future moves for Huke. He's not going to be on the bench forever. Like, who knows? Maybe next year, like, I'm assuming Huke's going to be starting, and they're probably going to try to build around him or something.
Yeah.
And someone's going to be leaving the team, which sucks. But, I mean, like, that's just future of next year.
Yeah.
But Huke's happy. It's not like he got screwed over or anything, They played a few games. They didn't, like, mesh well together, and, TJ came back. At least they're winning now. Yeah,
if I had to guess, I mean, I don't really know if this is a fact or not, but if I had to assume, it's because we're at stage 4. We've got this one and one more, and then champs, right?
Yeah.
There's just not tons of time for them to be kind of going through those growing pains as a team, figuring each other out, learning each other's tendencies. They don't really have the time for that.
Yeah, especially being middle pack.
Yeah, exactly. Where if they keep losing, things can go downhill for them pretty
really
quickly.
Fast,
so they just don't want to be wasting time. But they're like, look, like we need to. Like, we were winning with TJ, we were looking really great.
Yeah.
We got to go back to that.
Yeah.
And we'll put you, on the bench for now. And like you said, I think you're right. Probably next year when they get more time, they can afford a couple of losses.
Yeah.
And start to go through those motions and get better as a team.
Yeah. Just starting fresh next year. But I mean, I think it's a good move. Huke seems like he's happy, he's content where he is. I'm sure he wants to play, but like. I think they played 3 games with him and they lost all 3.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's 3 weeks of COD already.
Exactly.
They did their test trial, didn't work. Bring TJ back. They're already like winning. So,
yeah. So they look pretty good. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they do, because that was a close game against Seattle. And Seattle, I mean, right now technically they're the worst team in the league. So maybe when they come across someone like, I think Rocker or OpTic Chicago, that'd be a good team for them to face off against. Someone mid-pack, maybe a little bit below or a little bit above them.
Yeah.
See how they can shape up against them, if they hang or not. Because I remember I can't remember who they faced last time before. I think it was Huke's last game they played, and they got 3-0'd.
Yeah. I
can't remember who it was.
Let's see.
But
if I can find it. But my final statement on like that for me is just that I don't know where they are in the standings. They're like 5th to 7th, somewhere in there.
They're 6th.
Yeah. So they, again, like you said, they can't really afford to lose, because if they lose, then they could easily drop out of top 8 like pretty quickly.
Yeah, because Florida's in 8th. And they're 40 points behind them.
Yeah, exactly.
And Florida looks good. So right now they're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Of those teams, 8 through 12, they're definitely looking the best.
Yeah.
So who knows if that would have happened, but that was always a potential risk if Thieves just kept underperforming and they're not getting any points, and they fall behind. But But yeah, people just need to chill out, you know.
Yeah, they got to chill.
Yeah, I saw people were being like, bench Venom, Venom's trash. He's this kid, like he sucks.
Yeah.
And it tried. They're like, why haven't they got rid of who is it? They got rid of Tej and put Huke in instead of Venom.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that I was watching a video of it was Enable who's on 100 Thieves. I think he's just a content creator for them at this point. But he's got experience too. I don't think he knows everything about the team, like the ins and outs of it. But he's like, dude, like these Twitter coaches or whoever, everyone thinking like they've thought of this and they haven't. Yeah. There's obviously some reason why they decided to not do that.
Yeah, right.
And it's not like Venom is getting absolutely worked on the map. Like he's trash.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, he's a good player.
Yeah. And I don't think people realize either that. It seems like Venom brings like pretty good vibes to the team. Like they're always like laughing and stuff.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I would say like Venom's pretty consistent. Like, I mean, overall, like I don't think he's playing great, but he's doing like enough. You know, and then he'll have some random like pop off games. Yeah. But
I mean, the guy who's really carrying right now, like, was doing fantastic, is Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny's doing great.
Yeah, he's frying.
Ever since he switched to the Krig, he's like frying.
Yeah, he switched to that freakazoid of a gun. That's literally perfect.
But you know, these coaches got to chill out.
Yeah,
these Twitter coaches,
yeah, exactly.
Reddit coaches, just stop.
Yeah, you know, it's a tough decision. It hurts for everybody. Like if you're a fan and you get to see such an all-star player like Huke on the bench, but there's a reason for it. He seems to be not devastated. Yeah, like some of the other players who have been put on the bench. Huke seems like pretty chill. Yeah, understands why. So there's not really. How can you be upset when he's not upset, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I'm fine. Like, it's not a big... I mean, that's at least what he says, you know? Yeah. Who really knows? But that's what he says, and that's what we can go off of.
Yeah. I mean, I trust his word.
Yeah, I do, too.
Because usually Huke is... when he speaks out on Twitter...
Yeah.
He's a pretty quiet person in general, so...
Yeah, and he seems to be pretty transparent.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just played once this weekend, and they just played, like we said before, against Seattle Surge. Yeah. And yeah, they got the win, which was pretty good. Yeah. But yeah, there was a bunch of games. Well, Thursday there was only 2. Friday, yeah.
Yeah, they know the schedule. Yeah, 2 games, 2, 3, 3.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, yesterday's games were pretty boring.
Yeah. No, they're pretty boring.
It was like, if you made a cup of coffee and you came back, the whole series was over.
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, transitioning into, I get like our main topic, I guess.
Right.
The bottom 4 teams, 5 teams, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
I got some notes here. So we're going to be talking about 8th through 12th place in the standings right now,
and how they shaped up to start stage 4.
Because I think you and I would agree this is more important and more fun to watch just because champs,
big time,
millions of dollars on the line, and if you don't secure 8th seed, like you just lose. You're not in champs and you don't have a chance to play for millions.
Yeah, it's scary. You know, it's not like I mean, well, it's kind of like just with any other sport, you know, like when you're playing at that big event, like, you know, I'm thinking of the Super Bowl, you know, it eventually just comes down to 2 teams. Yeah, you know, but. Can you imagine if you're just like, you don't even have the chance? There's no like, you're totally you will not play. Yeah, you know, like you won't like play games to potentially go there. You know, even if your chances are slim to make it to the finals. Yeah, these bottom 8 teams or bottom 4 teams are just not gonna show up. Yeah, and that's scary.
Yeah, that's like the stage, the majors, I guess. The bottom 2 teams. So every single team makes the major, right? You don't need to qualify for the major. It's just like seeding.
Yeah, just where you start.
Yeah. And but the first 2 teams knocked out, they don't win any money. And I couldn't imagine saying, all right, yeah, we lost, and they're out of $200K.
Oh, yeah.
But $200K between like all those 4 players is nothing compared to, I think the prize pool last year was like $1.5 million for first. Yeah, you're losing out on $200K versus $1.5 million.
Right.
Like you.
Yeah, I mean, do the math. On how much that is per person.
You want to make champs.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
don't want to lose out on that.
No, you don't. And what's so it's great about the CDL is all these teams have such all-star players on them, and it's crazy to think that some of these guys are not going to be making the major or making the COD Champs, you know, people who have like almost won COD Champs or who have won COD Champs are not going to be in it.
Yeah. Do you want to go through, I guess, like every single standing, and then we can just talk about those teams?
Yeah, that'd be perfect. That'd be perfect. I mean, we can start if you want to start at the bottom.
You want to start off the bottom, or do you want to start at 8th?
Well, actually, I like that. I like that. We'll start at 8th.
All right, so 8th, Mutineers.
Right.
They have 120 points before starting this week.
Yep.
And they played 2 games, and they won both games.
Yeah.
So they got an extra 20 points.
Yeah, so now they're at 140 right now, chilling at 8th. And they built a little bit of a buffer between them and LAG. Yeah, I mean, Florida looked really good. They looked good to start off Major 4.
Yeah. They played Ultra first game.
Shocking.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think many people expected them to win that one, honestly.
No, I definitely didn't.
No.
The Ultra they came out a little slow. CLINCHES and Cammy didn't play too well. Insight didn't either.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone has those games, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, Florida came out and they destroyed. They won 3-2. So, I mean, it was a close series. But Mutineers, they went up 2-0 in the beginning, and Ultra almost pulled the reverse sweep.
Yeah, I know. That's what was scary.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I can't remember what group Mutineers is in right now. If they're in Group B or if they're in Group A. I can't remember which one they're in.
I think they're in B.
I think you're right. But what's crazy is like some of these teams, they have certain face-offs against like particular teams where they're like, okay, they might just chalk that one up, you know, because the matchup is so crazy. Like for example, like Paris and FaZe, you know, like that's no chance Paris are gonna win that, you know. And that was what a lot of people probably thought about Mutineers versus Ultra. They're like, okay, they can afford to lose this one, or if it happens, it's like, whatever, you know. If they can win that, that's insane. But if they lose, well, you know, it's not really shocking.
Yeah.
Ultra's one of the top teams. And somehow they pulled out the win.
Yeah.
I mean,
Skies played really well that series.
Yeah, they just put them. They did exactly what they had to do. You know, Ultra's not really in that urgent spot. I mean, they're trying to, of course, you know, place higher. They're in a big fight right now with Dallas Empire. But Mutineers, they're trying to really get themselves out of that hole. Yeah, you know,
they need to secure that 8th seed.
Yeah, which they're close to Rocker. They're only 10 points off Rocker, who's in 7th. Yeah, you know.
And the second game that they played over the weekend was against Royal Ravens. They sweeped them 3-0. Like that was, I literally got up, made a cup of coffee, came back, and like the series was about to be over.
It's crazy.
Like, it was under an hour.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Yeah, and like London, they're not too bad either. Like they made a lot of roster changes as of late, and they looked good. Yeah. So that was another kind of surprising 3-0 out of them. Yeah,
Mutineers, they played 2 games this weekend, and they won both. Exactly what they need to do.
Yeah.
So they're at 140 points now. They're doing well.
Yeah, it's surprising too that we're talking about Mutineers in 8th because last season. The first season or first year of the CDL, they were one of the top teams, arguably. I mean, they were the only team to win 2 majors back to back.
Yeah,
I can't remember if that was the only 2 that they won or if they did win 3.
They won 3.
Yeah,
I think they won 3. Empire won 3, and
and then I think like some teams kind of got.
FaZe won 3.
Yeah, I think maybe only one team didn't win.
Yeah.
I think
I can't remember.
Yeah, it seems like 20,000 years ago that whole season. But Mutineers were at the top, and now you would never expect them to win a major. Like nobody would, and they're in 8th place. They're fighting to stay alive.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy how they went from hero to zero.
Yeah.
You know, from one season to the next.
Yeah.
And they didn't really do much roster changes, I don't think, other than. Who did they bring in? Well, of course, obviously Pharaoh. He passed away.
Yeah.
And they had to throw in. I can't remember.
Slacked.
Yeah, they put in Slacked, and now they have Havoc. Yeah. On the team.
Havoc was already on the team from last year.
Yeah, and then he got benched.
Yeah, got benched. But team's playing well. As long as they keep doing, you know, they won 2 out of the 5 games they're playing so far.
Yeah.
Going into stage 4, which is really good. Moving on to 9th place, I guess, LA Guerrillas.
Yep.
They're sitting with 90 points in 9th place right now. And they played 1 game over the weekend, and they lost.
Yeah.
which is tough.
That is tough. Yeah, that's really outlines like the struggle sometimes with this format. Because you come in, maybe you're gonna have a tough game and you haven't been playing much. I mean, they got thrown against New York Subliners. They are a top 3 team right now.
Yeah.
I don't think that you can argue that they're a top 3 team.
Yeah.
It's FaZe, New York, and Ultra.
Yeah.
And yeah, they got 3-1. I mean, and that's the only game they play.
Yeah.
You show up and you get smoked.
Yeah. So they got 4 more games left, and again, LAG, one of those teams where they can win.
Yeah.
I mean, they beat FaZe.
Yeah, they did.
That was like season 1? Season 2.
Yeah, I think it was their
Major
stage.
2.
Yeah, stage 2. I think they pulled that one out.
Yeah.
Yeah, LAG, they took one map. They took the Search and Destroy pretty convincingly against New York. Learned afterwards that part of it, New York, I think it was their player Asim. He was having some issues in the game.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, you can't take away. LAG looks really strong in Search.
Yeah.
But the problem is New York, they look so good in the respawn modes.
Yeah.
Respawns being, for people, like if you don't remember, it's hardpoint and control, right? It's hardpoint, control, and search. Those are the 3 modes that you play.
Yeah.
So you've got to be good on some of those respawns.
Yeah.
And Subliners, they look so good
Yeah.
in the respawns. It's hard to win a series against them.
With Hydra and ASIM too, like they're so fast, like the pacing.
Yeah.
And I mean, Assault. LAG in general, like for the most part, I would say they're slower players. They still kept up, but ASIM and Hydra they're all over the place.
Yeah,
it's hard. Those guys are hard kills.
Yeah, they're insanely hard kills. That's what's really made New York ascend to this level is Hydra too. Hydra and ASIM, those 2 playing off each other, they've just been fantastic.
Yeah.
They're Hydra's playstyle, it's very reminiscent of like Simp and Abizi. In that aspect, they're just always in your face, and they make the map so difficult. They're such hard kills, and they can turn series around. So in the respawns, those guys are nightmares, and that's why New York is they're so hard on the respawns.
Yeah. So I mean, tough weekend for LAG. Hopefully they bounce back in week 2, this week.
Yeah, they're gonna have to. I mean, it's going to be a tough one. I think their next game they're playing is this Thursday. They're playing Dallas Empire.
Yeah, they could win that.
Yeah, that's the thing. They could win that. Dallas right now, power ranking wise, they're in that bottom 8 standings. They're lucky. They're up as high as they are because they are bad right now.
Yeah, because they made the beginning of the year. They had that huge jump.
Yeah, they were crushing.
They're just winning a ton of games.
Yeah. But they got to face next week. They play 2 games. They play Dallas, and then they play Florida.
So that Florida game's that's important.
Yeah,
because again they're right behind Mutineers.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's so cool. Like that one game there, that's going to be awesome. Because those 2 teams are fighting for that 8 spot. Mutineers holding it right now. LAG, they're chomping for it. They need it. They desperately need that.
8 through 12. Anytime these teams match up against each other, it's super important.
Yeah,
because one team can't afford to lose that game.
Yeah,
they're losing points.
No, they can't.
Mutineers right now, they have 140 points. LAG's right behind them with 90. That's a lot of points.
Yeah,
that's 50 points, and that 50 points total, that's winning a major.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. And what I really like, too, is just always seeing these matchups, especially now since we're coming to the end. We got stage 4 and 5, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Mutineers, their next game, they're facing Subliners.
Yeah. Big matchup.
Yeah, exactly. So that's they've gone through Ultra.
Yeah.
They beat them. It's can they do it? Can they do it to New York as well?
Yeah.
Stat wise and gameplay wise, you would say no.
No, yeah.
You would think that New York's going to take that one, and then the LAG one, it's a toss up. They're so close to each other.
Yeah, it depends who shows up that day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, COD is so day to day, and that's what's tough with some of these teams and separates the best from the worst. Is some of these teams look great, like Mutineers. Sometimes they literally look like the best team in the game.
Yeah,
they just look insane.
Yeah,
and then other days they literally look like they have no idea what's going on, and they get wrecked.
Yeah, and that's why the top teams like FaZe, New York, and Ultra. I mean, Ultra lost this weekend, but they bounced back on Sunday. Yeah,
yeah, and they didn't get cooked.
Yeah,
it was a close game.
Yeah, they they're just super consistent.
Yeah.
And I guess like too, FaZe, for example, when they have like an off day, their off day isn't like Seattle having like an off day. You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
Those players' off days are like they're still destroying people.
Yeah, they're still destroying. And then when they lose, they bounce back and like so hard.
Yeah.
You know, they turn into even more demons. It's brutal. But yeah, it's going to be important for Guerrillas to see if they can dig themselves out of that hole.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would imagine that they can win that game against Dallas because Dallas they look tough right now. I think that's going to be a really tough match. I think that's going to be a close one.
Yeah.
That's not an easy game for Guerrillas.
Yeah.
And then the Florida one too. It's like who really knows where that's going to go?
Yeah.
You know.
We can move to 10th.
The 10th.
The London Royal Ravens.
Very interesting team right now. Very interesting.
10th place with 70 points. They played one game this weekend, and they lost.
Yeah. Again, same thing with the format. Just tough.
Yeah. They played against Mutineers, like we said before, and they got 3-0'd.
Yeah.
I don't really have much to talk about on that because like it was like Mutineers ran them over.
Yeah, they did. And I listened to a couple people. I think it was mainly Parasite talking on one of the podcasts. He's a former player. He used to play for the London Royal Ravens. He says that they were trolling.
Yeah,
London Royal was like they were just playing, you know, doing stupid things, and they totally they just tossed that game.
Yeah.
Which
unfortunate because that was a very important matchup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know that's what's tough. You know, like if that's what the commentary can be on as to why that happened, and I'm sure he obviously knows what he's talking about. I'm sure he's right. But it's tough because they can't afford to be doing stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They can. The teams 8 through 12, they can't afford to lose to each other, but they can afford to lose like the top 7 teams.
Yeah,
because they're not competing for that 8th spot. You know?
Exactly.
If London lost to, if the Royal Ravens lost to like a FaZe or Ultra, whatever. Like FaZe is already building up a lead anyways. It's not like it's impacting them.
Yeah,
but they can't be losing to 8 through 12 just because that's more of a deficit that they're digging themselves in. Yeah,
and they're separating themselves from competition that is actually close to them.
Yeah.
Like no one, like they could care less really what FaZe's CDL points are because they will not.
They can't.
Yeah, it's not mathematically possible. For really, I mean, as far as I know.
No, it's not mathematically possible.
unless the top 8 teams, their players get frozen in ice for the next however many months. It's not going to happen. But yeah, they're trying to keep these games as close as they can between 8 through 12.
Yeah, and I want to touch on like 9 through 12, like the bottom 4 teams. Those guys haven't even broken 100 points yet.
Yeah.
So that's why it's big that the Mutineers are like they already have 140.
Yeah.
Like they won those 2 games. That's really important. They're slowly like running away.
Yeah. Yeah, and London thing with them too that's interesting. The bottom 2 teams we'll get to after they've made some changes, but London. I mean, this team, it's been the story of this whole season. They've done so many roster changes. I mean, if I'm thinking, they've probably done the most changes for one team.
Yeah, they definitely have.
100%. I mean, I really can't even remember all the players that have been on that team.
Yeah. Well, Shawnee's the only
only one that's
guy.
Yeah, he's the only one that's been on that team since the beginning. Yeah, that was announced. And they've been it's tough because they've done all these changes and you like to see that.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Yeah.
Some people make the argument, well, you're changing all the time. How can they really start to gel?
Yeah.
And I kind of line up with that argument.
Yeah.
But they've always been like where they are.
Yeah, exactly. They're making all these changes and they're not moving.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the frustrating part.
Yeah.
They have these players like they brought in Afro and
Zaptius.
Well, he's Zaptius, but on the team right now it's Afro and Alex.
Yeah, Alex.
Right.
Yeah.
Alex was a player who was originally supposed to be on the team.
Yeah.
And then he couldn't make it because of his personal issues or something or other. And yeah, Afro's insane, and Alex. Those guys have been playing great, and then it's those 2, Paul X and Shawnee.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like a really good team, and they've played well, but like when they get into the matches, it's just it doesn't.
Moving.
Yeah, it doesn't equate to wins.
Yeah, exactly.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, and they got some like Dylan Dylan's on the bench, and Dylan's like an animal, and they haven't given him a shot yet.
Yeah.
I mean, they technically have. They played him for a bit, but I don't know. Like, I wonder if they're gonna make like any more roster changes if they're not winning.
I mean, who knows?
They got to lock in a roster at some point, though, because they're already, again, we're at that point in the year where they don't have a lot of time left.
No, they don't. And
so
they
want to keep changing or lock in a roster.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, do you chalk it up and just say like, oh, we're not going to make champs?
Yeah.
Or do you keep making changes, being like, all right, like, we just got to send it and start making changes and, seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
I
hope I got to reiterate, none of these teams at the bottom four better not just say we're not making champs.
Yeah,
they're professional players. They have to try their heart out to make the 8th seed, because if I was an owner of the team and I knew my players were just like, we're not going to make it, they're just not going to try, then
right. I think there's unfortunately gonna come a time where the odds are just beyond stacked against them. You'll probably see that in like next major. Where they just it's not gonna happen for them. And I'm sure the math will have to line up with them at that point. But part of it too, I mean, I get your point. It's tough, like when that point comes where it is not possible for some of these guys. I'm sure like the battle for 8th, depending on how these guys obviously play, that's what we're all assuming here. If the bottom 2 teams just do not move anywhere and they lose all their games, and the other top teams pull away, like what do they do? Do they just say F it and we don't really care anymore? Or do they try to gel as a team and work on certain things for next year? But that doesn't really matter because the game's going to change. They're not playing Cold War as far as we know.
I mean, after this major, like there are going to be a few if they don't win, like the bottom 2 teams like Paris and Seattle, if they don't win at all during this stage, like it's going to be mathematically impossible for them to make it. But even if I was an owner, like you're still playing. You still better play and try hard, even though you're not going to make it. Because I don't know. I personally would hate to be an owner and knowing my players. Yeah, you didn't make it, but at least go out like respectfully and just not just give up. Because I'm not signing you for hundreds of thousands of dollars to not try. That's ridiculous.
No, absolutely.
You're professional.
Yeah, and part of it too, you think with some of these teams, regarding management and coaches and everybody involved, teams that didn't make changes when they probably should have made changes a lot earlier to try to get the ball rolling, so they wouldn't be in this situation. That's the only thing I could really credit. The only thing, but I can credit Royal Ravens for is they've been trying to get some combination of players working. And that's what we were mentioning at the beginning of the podcast with LA Thieves. They've been doing that a lot. Dallas has been doing that a lot. New York did that a lot. They've done a couple of changes. Actually, no, they only done one change, didn't they?
No, they made
New York.
They picked up Diamond Con,
and then they got rid of him.
And then picked up Hydra.
So just
started Hydra.
So just the one change.
And technically Ace because Zuma retired.
True. But some of these teams are making changes because they think that's what's going to bring them to the next level. And focusing back on the bottom teams, London's been trying to do that to dig them out of that hole. And some of these teams, like next one, I guess we can really focus on is the 11th, which is Paris Legion.
With 60 points.
They've just done one change so far, right?
Yeah, and they play 2 games this weekend. They lost both. They played. Who'd they play? They played FaZe first game. We can chalk that up as a loss. Like, I think everybody knew that. And then they
got a map.
They got a map.
I can't remember what it was. I don't remember that series. If they got the search or
it was a search, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then they played. Who else did they play? They played Rocker, and they lost 3-1.
Yeah.
So, tough because again they're sitting at 60 points, and the Ravens are above them at 70. That's only 10. That's one game. If they won, they would have tied.
Yeah.
if they won both of those games, they would have moved up to 10th.
And they would have been 10 points behind LAG for ninth spot.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not looking good for these teams.
Yeah, Paris went and their roster change that I mentioned, they went and picked up Zaptius off the London Royal Ravens after they had parted ways with him. And they picked him up in place of Classic.
Yeah.
Who has now moved to Seattle Surge, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
It's funny when you look at these breakdowns as to what could have been, with the points. Paris, I don't know, like Search, it's not surprising. Like Search, they seem to be good. Obviously, they took a map on FaZe. I have to go back and look at the one that they got against Rocker, if it was Search as well. I think it was. I can't remember.
It might have been the first hard point.
Could be. But the problem is like you got to be able to win some of those respawns. Whether if you're good in respawns, it's going to come down to those or Search. Like you just have to be well-rounded.
Yeah.
You can't just put all your eggs into one basket and be like, all right, we're going to just only win these.
Yeah.
It's 2 hard points in a Search.
Yeah. And the other thing, like they played 2 games this weekend. FaZe, all right, like that's a really hard game to win. Yeah. I would think most people expected them to lose. But no, playing against Rocker, like Rocker just recently changed rosters, I guess. Like they subbed in Major Maniac, Accuracy went to the bench.
Yep.
So it's a new roster. And Legion, they had a chance to beat Rocker. I wouldn't say like they're gonna be completely blown out.
Yeah.
But they didn't win, which is tough, really tough for them.
Yeah, and Rocker would be. I mean, where are they in the placings compared to them? Rocker's 7th and Paris is 11th. I mean, I don't know. That would have been a good time to beat Rockers because they seem quite vulnerable.
Exactly.
With just signing a new player, or their original starting player, Major Maniac.
Yeah.
And I thought they were looking good, Paris. I thought this would have been a good move for them. And that's the thing; they do look better than they did prior, but it's just not enough.
It's not enough, yeah.
It's just not enough, and that's what's tough. And now they're in this point where what do? Do they just really grind and try to hope that they can eke out a couple wins to move themselves up?
Yeah.
Or do they start making changes again?
Yeah. Like they only got 3 more games before going into Major 4. And again, like this format's like brutal for these guys.
Yeah.
Because look, like if they win the next 3 games, I don't know who they're playing against, they go from 60 points to 90 points, right? And that would be technically tied with LAG like right now. Yeah. And that's if LAG loses their next 4 games.
Yeah. No, it's a tough road for them, And what's interesting with Paris too, and with Surge as well, Paris just made their first change. Right, this is the only change that they've made the entire season, and it's in stage. Actually, no. I take that back. They picked up. Well, no, I take that back then because they've made a couple changes. They've picked up Temp.
Yeah. And
they've picked up. When did they pick up Scraps? Was that in the beginning?
Yeah, in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, stage 1 was it or stage 2? They did that.
It was stage 1 or 2. It was the beginning of the year.
So I mean, I take that back. They made a couple changes then.
Aqua's the only person that's still on.
That's been the original roster. Okay, yeah. No, I take that back then. I mean, Paris has been making some changes, but I mean, from their standing, I don't know what it is. Some of these bottom teams, they've been making changes, and they haven't moved the needle at all.
Yeah.
And I thought they would have. I mean, they do look a little bit better with Zaptius, but it's still not enough. So it's
they're one of the first teams to make a change by bringing Fire.
Oh yeah.
And he
didn't
play well.
Dude, I'm faded, man. I forget a lot of these guys. God damn.
The majors, they just go so quick. It's like change after change after change. Like these teams, they're rotating and they're desperately trying to find a team that works.
Yeah. No, that's the thing, because I remember Fire was in for a little bit and then he was gone. But unfortunately with these teams like Paris, some of the games they play, they're gone. Like they happen quick. They lose, and then like in the major, they play like one game and then they're out.
They're out.
What I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like you don't ever get to see them play enough.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of players you think about it who have just come and gone through, especially Paris. God, I forgot. They've had quite a few.
The European teams, it's tough because both Paris and London, they've basically made a bunch of changes.
Yeah.
You could form like whole separate teams based on the amount of changes they've done.
Oh yeah,
Like that's crazy.
yeah. It is unbelievable. And a lot of those guys are really good. Like I remember Fire. Now he's coming back to me.
Yeah.
Remember he played. Yeah, Fire. I mean, he was in the AM scene, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember if he was on Westar or where he came from, but
I can't. I mean, I'm assuming he must have been on.
yeah, that's where
Westar.
or like Easter, one of those top teams.
Yeah.
But yeah, his performance wasn't there.
Yeah, and Paris was one of the first teams like in the beginning where they made the roster change because Fire was in the same group when Diamond Con came in with New York.
Yeah, true. That is true. Yeah, damn, dude. Oh, man. Go through these. I totally forget about it.
It was a long time, yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah,
Remember,
you think about
Formal was like, fire, you better come out with the fire.
Yeah, right. And then, unfortunately, he didn't. He had a hard time. Yeah, it's tough. But, yeah, Paris, I don't know. I mean, I've heard some interviews with Temp, and he seems optimistic, but that was prior to this week 1, so it's
2 games in already.
Yeah, and then going forward, they play LA Thieves, and then they play OpTic.
Yeah, tough.
It's like, oh man, what? Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be so hard for them.
I think they're in the same group as OpTic, right? Group B.
Yeah. I mean, I think so, right? All these guys are in the same group. I think. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I think they.
I think so. I can't remember.
Not all these teams right now are in the same group, but I'm pretty sure Paris and OpTic are in the same group.
Yeah.
Either way, their last 3 games, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I mean, out of these games, yeah.
And they're sitting at 60 points right now.
Yeah, and they're gonna play Thieves and OpTic, and I just, unfortunately, sorry, I love those guys on Paris, appreciate them, but I just don't see it happening. I just cannot see a world where they beat those guys. I've said that before, and the opposite has happened, but I don't know. I mean,
it's really hard at this point.
Yeah, it's just they can't. That's the position they're in,
And that's when mentally I understand like it's being super hard for a player. Like, why would you even try if it's impossible at this point? But like thinking from an owner's perspective, like you're a professional player. And in any other sport, you don't see players just give up ever. No. They never give up, even if they know they're not making playoffs or anything.
Yeah.
You can't just put the controller down. Like, you just got to keep playing until, the clock runs out.
Yeah. And I'd like to imagine that these guys are going to do that.
Yeah.
And I think they will.
I think they will too.
But
I think it'll be like apparent on the map if they're just like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah. And of course, there may be those individuals on teams that have that kind of mentality at some point, and hopefully you'd imagine that the rest of the players let them know to not squander this opportunity. We're still playing in the CDL on a professional team.
Yeah,
like there's still things to fight for. I mean, even if they don't make it to champs or like before that, saying in the fifth when they go to stage 5, like there's still games that they can win and get points. I don't know if they get cash for. I think they do. Yeah.
They still win some cash.
Yeah, there's still things to fight for.
And like the other thing is, like I think this is more important, even if they don't make champs. They're fighting like for their future in the spot next year.
Yeah.
These bottom 4 or 5 teams, like you're playing for your career next year.
Yeah.
Because these teams, like you're already not playing well. Going into next year, the owners could just completely drop every single team. All these players and then just rebuild the whole new roster.
Yeah, they don't look to have they don't have a lot of leverage going in.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not going to say like don't play selfish, obviously, like play as a team and try to win.
Right.
But definitely don't chalk it up and just say we lost, cuz next year if you're not in the league and you were in the league, I'm sure you'd be pretty upset.
Oh yeah.
That you didn't try.
Yeah. Well, then that's actually a good segue moving into our last team, which was interesting as the development with them, which we mentioned before, which is the last. They're in ranked 12 with 50 points. The Seattle Surge.
They played 1 game and they got 0 points.
Yeah.
So we can recap at the end, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say about about Seattle.
Close. I mean, they played LA Thieves. They went to game 5. And LA Thieves they closed it out.
Yeah. I mean, it's just unfortunate.
I hate seeing that team lose because, again, it's just...
They're so good.
That team just doesn't make. They have octane, first of all, and individually he's playing crazy, but again, that doesn't really matter if you're not winning as a team.
Well, that shows like your like individual talent
Yeah.
can't carry.
Yeah, they can't carry.
Like you can't do that.
Yeah, and Pristini, it's crazy because last year Pristini, he was on Mutineers, he was winning.
Yeah.
He went to Huntsman, they won, and now he finds himself on Surge, and he is literally dead last.
Yeah.
And Pristini, arguably, I guess, like he made that insane play against OpTic LA. If he wasn't that guy that ran across and spotted all 5 and called them out, they would have lost.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, and his brother is on the top team right now,
winning everything.
Yeah, so one brother is at the top,
yeah,
first place on the best team, and then the other brother is dead last on arguably, definitely like the worst team.
Yeah, stat wise, definitely.
But Seattle did look better this weekend. Still just an L's an L. They weren't able to close it out.
Yeah.
And they played against LA Thieves. Some good competition. But yeah, Seattle Surge. They have only made one change as far as I'm concerned. Right? The only change that they've made. I'm trying to make sure.
Technically, too.
What were they? So they
Looney for
Decimate. Decimate, and then they brought in what's his name now?
Classic.
Who's on the team? Classic, yeah, which I mentioned before. Decimate only played for a little bit on the team. I think he played for a couple weeks, and then he, rumors he benched himself, or they agreed. So he's off the team because they didn't really look any better with him.
That was a weird move.
Yeah,
by him.
Very strange. Yeah, we had mentioned that in our last podcast. We don't have to go too much into that. We didn't agree with it.
Before we go off of that, Decimate retweeted something about his stats from the amateur scene, and then Envoy was like, I forget what he said. He was like, "Congrats!" On
in the little leagues or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I was like, that was good by him.
Yeah, couldn't hang in the big leagues or something like that. Yeah, the idea of being a big fish in a little pond.
Yeah, I don't understand why Decimate did that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's crazy too. But they weren't really looking that good, and that's probably part of the reason why. He just didn't want to deal with it, or didn't think he was the right fit for that team. Whatever it was. But then anyway, with Classic on the team, they do look better. I would never have imagined they could take that to a Game 5 with LA Thieves, and they did. They should have won.
They've lost a lot of Game 5s.
Yeah.
This whole year, they've lost a lot of Game 5s.
Yeah, they should have won that game against LA Thieves, though, because they had... what was it? The control that they played on Raid.
Yeah, it
was so close.
In the future, I'm gonna try to find the stat on Surge because I'm fairly certain they've lost at least double digits Game 5s.
Yeah,
they've lost a lot of Game 5s.
Yeah,
so they're right there. But they just can't close it out. I wonder how many potential points they could have earned if they closed out all those Game 5s.
Right. Who knows? It probably would have been monstrous.
Yeah.
But yeah, they won they played hard point to start, and they won almost by 100 points, which is good. They lost the search. They should have won the control. That was a nail biter of a control game.
I remember.
Which was so frustrating because then after that they won the hard point again. They won it by 100 points, and that would have been it.
Yep.
They wouldn't have had to go to that search, which they got absolutely destroyed in.
Yeah.
Search and destroy for Surge right now, it's from this game or this series, it doesn't. They've got a lot of work there.
Their raid control too, that's not a good map for them.
Yeah, they're 0-8 on it or something like that. It's 0-6, 0-8.
They keep playing that map.
Yeah.
And they keep losing Game 5 or round 5.
Yeah, and we thought, and the commentators were saying it too, they were going to break the curse because it was that close.
Yeah.
It was that close. But they choked and they lost. And yeah, that totally flipped everything around because then they had to send it to a Game 5.
Yeah.
And they played the search and destroy, and they lost 1-6. They got one round on them, and they got smoked every other round.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's so frustrating for them because they're a team of all-stars. They look so good, experienced veterans. And
all veterans.
Yeah, all veterans. And they just can't put it together. I don't know what it is. I really... Seattle Surge has been definitely just the most enigmatic team.
Yeah.
They make no sense.
Yeah.
Why they're at the very bottom.
Yeah. literally doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because you look at this roster now, it's Octane, Pristini, Gunless, and Classic. A team that should be winning.
Yeah.
And
all people that have won.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, and their road is just brutal.
It's tough.
Yeah, I mean they have 50 points right now. And then see if I can pull up what their schedule is, because I don't think it's very good.
While you're pulling that up, so Surge has 50 points. They need 90 points to tie the Mutineers right now.
Yeah.
90 points, and that's if the Mutineers lose everything.
Yeah. So their first game that they play on Thursday, you ready?
Yeah.
Atlanta FaZe.
Yeah. So
it's like in the blender. And then the other game that they play on Saturday, they're playing Minnesota Rocker. That might be a game that they could contest on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just yeah. It's going to be so brutal. They got that, and then I don't even know what they got coming up after that. Later on in June, they've got OpTic they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're playing Paris. Hopefully that's a game they can win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the story with all these teams, right? And what we're driving home.
Bottom 4 teams.
Which is so frustrating. It's just this position that they're all in.
Mm-hmm.
They have such a grueling couple of weeks ahead of them.
Yeah.
To be able to pull this off. I don't know. I personally, if I have to say it right now, Surge is they're not making champs.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
They haven't shown the life.
The climb that they have to do they would have to win a major.
Or place like top 4, top 3 in a major.
Yeah. And that's if Mutineers lose right off the bat. A lot of things have to happen.
The stars have to align.
Yeah.
For them to pull this off.
If they win the next 4 games and win the major, and Mutineer loses everything.
Yeah.
Then they tie with the Mutineers.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be. I don't know. I really hate seeing this because Seattle should be a team, and with all these players, they're so good, and they were winning last year.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, Octane wasn't winning last year. But unfortunately, Gunless, I mean, when he played, right, he was on Huntsman and he was winning. Pristini, he was on Mutineers, like you said, and OpTic, and he won.
Huntsman.
Yeah, sorry, Huntsman. Classic, he's been not really. What team? I can't remember what team he played on. If it wasn't Paris. I don't know if he played on Rocker or what team he played on. I forget.
He played last year.
Yeah.
He was.
Can't remember what team it was that he played on.
I think he was on Ultra.
He might have been. I can't remember. Again, that whole time's a complete blur. We're trying to look up and trying to think.
He was on Ultra.
That's crazy.
We can look at it after.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's so frustrating to see that team. And you had mentioned before about these bottom teams where they're going to be. I don't know if Octane's going to be there next year. Mm-hmm. I would be shocked, and I'd be honestly pretty sad if he was there, because that team just what are they going to do next year? They've got to probably once again totally revamp that team, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think Octane's going to leave. I think he just needs a fresh start, somewhere. I think me and you, we don't know the background of management or anything. But it seems like this year they gave Octane all the control and was like, look, we dropped all the other players from last year. We're building around you because you're the superstar. Build like a team.
Yeah, and I believe he said that that's not the case.
Yeah.
Which then other pros have been like, that is insane. That's not true. You 100% have management doesn't just randomly choose people to be on your team.
Just drop everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who really knows what the official story is there?
Yeah. I think he just needs a fresh start.
Yeah, bottom line, he's in a bad team right now. He's doing great. Octane looks great. His stats are fantastic.
Yeah.
But the team is they're 4-16.
Yeah.
I mean, say no more.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Just to recap, overall this weekend on these teams. So Mutineers are the only team that won. Yeah. They won both of their games. Ravens lost, LAG lost, Legion lost, and Seattle lost.
Yeah.
So that it's gonna be a tough climb. Looks like the Mutineers are slowly pulling away with the 8th seed, but we'll have to see within the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
But overall, that's what we wanted to talk about in stage 4, and you want to transition to just talking about like pubs.
Yeah, something a little bit more lighthearted. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah, instead of something so heavy and down like what those guys.
Because
do.
we're passionate about that. Like we want these guys to win.
I
man.
know.
I don't
Come
want
on.
these.
You know, it's brutal.
Octane, come on.
But no, being a bit more chipper about ours. I remember last week we talked about our woes.
Yeah.
With the season 3 challenge, we got it done.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went and they fixed it. They patched it, so we got that challenge done. Thank the holy gods.
Mike and I got it done in the same game at the same time.
Yeah, same time.
That was crazy.
I got it, and you're like, dude, the challenge. I'm like, bro, it just popped for me. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was such like I felt like my heart rest.
Yeah.
I was like, I wasn't even worrying about it at the forefront, but I think about it, I'm like, oh, dude,
yeah,
I don't have to worry about this anymore. Like,
yeah,
it's done.
It was crazy. I wasn't even playing for it either.
Yeah,
like me and you, we were both just like 9-1 or something like that. Like after the first round. Yeah, and then we just got it.
I started playing for it for when I got like 7 kills. I'm like, because I saw that they had another thing they had all screwed up was not the emblems, the ranks.
The levels.
Yeah, they fixed the levels.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh damn. I was like, I wonder if they fixed the merciless thing. I was like, let me just go for it really quick, and then sure enough, they did.
I didn't even notice that. I was just playing.
Yeah, so thank God they did. But yeah, games. I mean, we haven't been playing as much as of right now. We still play every night, of course, for around an hour.
Yeah.
Because we've been playing another game.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been coming on, dude. We've been just reverse sweeping.
Yeah, we've been playing.
That's been like the story. It's just reverse sweeps all the time.
Yeah, we've been playing really well. Past couple nights.
Yeah, and the gun, I don't know why it's made some sort of resurgence. Is like the LC10. That gun. I remember for a while we weren't seeing it that much. It was like the PPSH was the hot thing.
I think that was just a hype of season 3.
Yeah.
You know, the PPSH came, and now everyone's like, wait, the LC10's actually better.
Yeah,
because that thing shoots lasers.
Yeah, and I mean it's been tough dealing with that gun, but that gun, and then there's the other 3-round burst.
The Carve. Yeah.
Those are like the 3 guns. You know, they've just been bothering us.
Yeah.
Well, the 2 guns, really, LC10 and that Carve, because they're just absolute laser beams and they melt you instantly. But no, dude, we've been frying, though, in the multiplayer.
Also, there are some buffs. The Krig got a buff.
Yeah, because it needed it, right?
Yeah. So a lot of AR players are pretty happy with that. I know, like, I mean, I've been using that gun, like, since the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And now it's even better. So
yeah. No, that gun it's so insane. Definitely did not need a buff.
Yeah, no, not at all.
But what are you gonna do?
We've been playing more standoff too. I know we didn't get like a few games in last week.
Yeah, we have been playing more standoff. Standoff's been growing on me. You know, I mean, it's always been like a good game or a good map to play. But it's. I don't know why. We just weren't really getting it much in the rotation and control.
Yeah, we just weren't getting it in the rotation.
So we've been playing it a fair amount. You know, it plays nice. I enjoy it.
I don't think we've lost on it, to be honest. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I don't think we have.
Yeah.
I think we have a pretty solid record on standoff.
Yeah.
I mean, that map just plays so great. I think it's wonderful that they added it in. They should,
yeah.
You know.
I mean, it also helps, like...
We know the map very well.
Yeah, we know the map well. Showing all the young kids, like, how to play.
Absolutely.
This is how you drop...
Smoking the young bucks in there.
This is how you drop 60-plus
yeah,
on this
right.
map.
No. So we've been absolutely piecing on that map.
Yeah, we've been pulling a lot of reverse sweeps, like you said. And they're all on the Black Ops 2 maps, too.
Yeah, well, because basically that's, like, the whole...
Express, standoff... Raid.
Yeah, I feel like those are the only 3 maps I've played for the past like week. Is just those 3.
We got an Apocalypse last night. That was.
Oh yeah, I can't remember. Did we piece those guys?
We reverse swept those guys.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I remember we like hit them with the most amazing streaks ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you called in the strafe run.
Yeah.
And then the strafe run is so good, not just because of like the power behind it, but it flusters people. The map is shaking. Yeah. It's so loud.
It's loud. Yeah.
And you're just like totally disoriented.
Yeah.
You got us flying at you.
Yeah. And you can, with the strafe run, it's so fun because you can cut off like the entire section of a map.
Yeah.
Like I know on standoff, we were down 0-2. I got the strafe run going into round 5, and we were capping. And capping A is like in the like where the house is, the middle of the map, and we capped that. And I call it the strafe run on the street with the tank and the statues, like right outside of B.
Yeah.
Like in front of like the farm area or OpTic van, if
Right.
anyone knows.
Right.
I called a strafe run on that street, and it forced them to just sit inside that back house, and they couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
so we had a free cap there.
And then they're totally screwed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I love that.
That's how you play your streaks.
Oh
strategic. I got like 1 kill there.
Yeah.
But I knew it forced everyone to go inside.
Yeah. Now
those guys were calling out hard. That was a whole team.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. we played a few teams that were like just they were definitely calling out.
Yeah.
Especially when you call in the harp and you get a kill and you just see like all the arrows they just all move around like converging on that one spot.
Yeah.
They're all yelling at me and I'm like, get out of here. Yeah.
You guys know the feeling when you're playing with a friend. It's just Mike and I playing, and we beat a whole team of 6.
Oh, it's the best.
Or 5, or like whatever. If it's more than 2 people, like it's so satisfying.
Yeah.
Because we know, like we legit like carried our team to victory.
Yeah, that checkmate game that we played was hilarious too.
Oh yeah.
With what's his name? Some one of the guys on our team. He was really good, and then he left, and Justin and I got kind of quiet because we're like, man, like this is. We almost might chalk it up here because we're down a player.
Yeah, Bat Knights, that's his name.
Yeah, Bat Knights.
Yeah,
he's really good.
Yeah, don't leave the game next time though.
Yeah, he's not like a ratty player. Like he's some scumbag. Like he's a good player.
Yeah,
but yeah, he left the game. We were pissed. We're like, dude,
we could have won.
Yeah, but we did win anyway. We did win anyway.
It was hard.
Oh my god, yeah, it was brutal. So if he's listening, we won that game anyway, even without you. So you shouldn't have left in the first place.
We turned up.
Yeah, we did.
It's funny, like when.
And that was a full team. Yeah. They were calling out hard.
Yeah.
Those guys were sweating.
Yeah, we started playing smarter. We're calling out like more intentionally.
Yeah.
Like, and we're running together.
All right. No, they got absolutely bodied. Yeah. I think it did go to a game 5.
Or, round 5. Yeah.
But then we had the harp up and got map control. I was living in spawn, paying rent there. They were destroyed.
That was fun because it was round 4. And I went up. I got into their spawn, like where that yellow crate is on checkmate, and I was just living there. Yeah. And then we go into a round 5. We're defending again, and I was like, if we get into their spawn, it's over. They can't get us. And then you got into their spawn, like that round, and I was just living in the plane.
Yeah,
and these guys couldn't stop us.
Yeah,
like they're too flustered.
Yeah, and then like when there's only like 15, 20 seconds left, and then you look. This guy left the game. I'm like, get out of here.
You can't even finish the game strong.
Yeah, exactly. That's for another topic. Common courtesy when playing public matches.
Oh yeah.
Little sneak peek. Do not leave the game when there's like 10 seconds left of the game.
Yeah.
Like just stay in there.
Yeah.
You don't get the XP for yourself. It counts as a loss. Like those guys were like they lost.
Yeah.
But they were still doing good.
Yeah.
Like they would have gotten a ton of XP.
No, that's definitely a topic. That's a topic we should like just common things in pubs that we get flustered about.
Yeah.
Like think about it. Me and you shit on those guys that bad, and they got that angry to like leave the game.
Yeah.
Like they're just sitting there like what the fuck.
Yeah,
like,
they just chalked it up. They're like, yo, these kids are trash, or like whatever. So they just leave. Yeah. But they played all that time. Like that game was long.
Yeah.
And I mean, they just didn't want to do it. They're like, nope.
Never rage quit. We never quit. Ever.
No. Even if there's bad lag, we'll just because like we know the game's probably just it's chalked up anyway. Yeah. But we'll just stay in there and then just ride it out. You know?
Like okay, if your team's playing bad and you're losing, at least like add to your stats. Like play individually.
Yeah. I think the only time we've ever started dashboarding was when we were going for those season 3 challenges and we weren't getting Armada
map.
Strike. Yeah. That's like the only time we've ever dashboarded.
Yeah.
You know. But that was just because of the map. Like we're trying to get a challenge for one thing. But these people, they go into a game and they're getting smoked. Like I've joined in plenty of games where I'm down 0-2. My team, they have no thumbs.
Yeah.
We're just getting destroyed. I'm like, well, I don't really care. Like I'm just gonna try.
Yeah.
Like,
and then you win one round, and then you win a second round, and then you go into
well,
5.
dude, yeah, that's happened too. And then we'll wrap it up. You're right. Like that's happened to me. I played by myself. It was on. I think it was Yamantau. I think it was. I can't. Pretty sure it was. We were down 0-2, and me and this other guy joined in, and he was good.
Yeah.
And we like won a round. Then these guys started getting flustered, and we got the second round, and then we lost the third round.
Yeah.
Or we lost like the game 5.
Yeah.
And I was devastated. I was like, dude, we could have done this.
Yeah.
But Yeah, it just takes like in pubs, it's different than in pros. Like in
Yeah,
pubs,
definitely.
if you have one person, like 1 or 2 people,
Yeah.
they can turn a game around.
Yeah, you
You
can
know?
really change a game around if like those two guys are just playing really, really well.
Yeah, like it was so funny. One of the games, it was Yamato too, another one where my team was up 2-0. You joined in, thought you were going to join on my team.
Yeah, I
Your
joined
team
on the
was
other team.
horrible.
Yeah.
Your team was horrible, but you played on that team and
Yeah.
you won them around.
Yeah.
Like you won them around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then after that, it's like the team was still bad, and like I was on the
Yeah.
other team and had like better players than you.
Yeah.
So we just like outbullied. Like,
yeah.
but every round that like even that one that we won at the end was
Mhm.
still close.
Yeah.
You know?
It's funny to
Individual talent can pay off in pubs,
Yeah.
not in the pro scene.
it really can.
Yeah.
But then there's, me and you shine, like really shine, and we still lose.
Yeah.
That's like if you just have players that are just very, very bad. Like they
yeah.
just don't know what they're doing, moving
Yeah.
around the map.
Nightmares.
That's definitely a topic we can touch upon.
Yeah.
Leave
Leave you on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, we both can make a list of
Yeah.
our pet peeves.
Yeah,
in
pet
COD.
peeves in COD, you know.
That'd be a fun episode.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Maybe next episode. We'll
Yeah,
see.
maybe.
We'll see.
see.
But we hope you enjoyed this episode. Just recapping this stage 4. Yeah, this stage 4 here.
Week 1.
Week 1.
The OpTic Home Series.
Yeah, so it's going to be the Florida Home Series is up June 3rd, June 6th. So by the time this podcast comes out, that'll already have happened.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be discussing that, and we'll touch on these teams because this is going to be something we'll want to keep an eye on until the end of the season. See who makes the cut and who doesn't.
Yeah, it's mainly these teams. I mean,
Yeah.
the top teams we already know the
They're
top
fine.
teams.
They're
Yeah.
fine, right? But yeah, I think we did a good job. You have anything else you wanted to touch on?
No, I'm all set.
Okay, great. Well, this has been episode 16. Can't believe we're at 16.
16,
Pumped,
almost at
pumped.
20.
Almost at 20.
Almost there.
So we hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at the COD Casuals. Again, we've been more active on there, so please shoot us a tweet at us, whatever you want. Keep an eye out for us. You can follow us on all platforms. If you go to our go to Anchor at the COD Casuals,
FM.
yeah. You can find all the other platforms that we're streaming on. This has been the COD Casuals. I'm Mike.
I'm Justin.
And we will see you in the next episode. Take it easy, everybody. Peace.